So welcome back. This is going to be a hard one, to be honest. There's a lot been going on, so you probably noticed that we've been disappeared for at least a month or so. I'll try and catch you up to speed as quick as possible with everything that's going on. I'm going to try and put some chapter markings down, so if you want to skip around you can do. So first things first, we are currently not moving house, which is kind of really hard. We actually had a house chosen. It was perfect. It was 20 minutes away from my parents, which is great. It was just over, I think it was just under an hour away from G's family as well, which is really, really great. We had already started planning Christmas. You know, we were going to invite all the families up because we had enough space. It would have been a bit of a squeeze, but enough space for my parents, my sister, his stepdad, his gran to come and stay. We were going to really make them feel welcome and everything, and it was all going absolutely smoothly. We had all of the solicitor stuff done. Our house, which I'm currently filming in, which you can't see because this is not a real background, that was sold, ready to go. Solicitors were there. We were at the point of having contracts done. And for any of you who are not from the UK, basically you don't own a house until you've done the completion, which is when you move in. But before that you have an exchange of contracts, which basically says now legally, I think it's either no one can pull out, or if you pull out there'll be a massive problem and there'll be lots and lots of fines and things, or lots of money to spend. We weren't at that point. We were just at that point of about to sign that document. Most of the time, I think estate agents like you to do that all on the same day, exchange and completion on the same day, or within a 2-week period. And normally the buying and selling house process in the UK is about, I think the average is about 4 or 5 months. It can be longer, can be a little bit shorter, but mostly it's in 4 to 5 months, I think. So you can imagine you're kind of getting everything ready. I had Pinterest boards. I might have built a house on The Sims because that's the kind of thing I do. I'd planned out the garden. It was amazing. I was so looking forward to it. It was going to be a massive fresh start to us. It was the house we're in at the moment. It's fine for a first starter house, and I'm still grateful that we have a house over our heads, roof over our heads, but it's not where we want to be. We're in a fairly busy town. We're on the edge of it, thankfully, but I don't really want to be in a fairly busy town. I'd rather be in a really small town or a village, or, to be honest, out in the middle of nowhere would be lovely. But it's just not where we want to be job-wise for G. It's not where he wants to be either, because he was already at the point of looking for new jobs, getting his CV sorted out, and actually looking forward to it as well, which is really difficult. We were all ready to go brilliantly, and then I had a call from the estate agent who said, I can't sell you the house because the lady's just decided to sell it to her daughter. It was just a complete gut punch. It's difficult as well because I think, great, I'm all for family. I think family should come first. But wow, thinking on it now, it feels a little bit like the lady who owned the house was playing both sides, waiting to see what had happened, because we had literally just got to the point where we were ready to sign the documents that we needed to sign, and then suddenly she walks into the estate agent and she has all of the paperwork ready to go. She'd done everything behind everyone's back. So I'm really pleased that her family have got the house and that they're going to keep the house. It's going to stay in the family, and her daughter's just had a baby, so that's amazing. I'm really, really pleased. I'm trying to be really pleased for them. But equally, I feel very much like it's a massive gut punch. So that happened. We're not moving currently. I don't know whether or not the person that's buying our house will wait. I doubt it. So we're going to have to go through that whole process again, which I hate. I'm not a tidy person, so keeping my house in absolute beautiful tidy order so that people can look around it is horrible, in all honesty. It's not like I'm a super untidy, we don't live in squalor, but I'm not a show home tidy person. That, and we're in the middle of preserving season, so I feel like my whole kitchen is just some sort of fruity battleground, which is kind of what I put on Instagram the other day, which I love. I love this season. It's probably the only thing that's keeping me going at the moment. But yeah, that's not fun. And I've also heard some of the comments of people looking around, and people can be so incredibly rude. Like, when we looked around houses, we were respectful that it's someone's house at the end of the day. So if there was a house that we saw that was, oh my god, it was in terrible state. We both joked that we felt like we needed tetanus jabs after walking around it. It was disgusting. But at the same score, when we were looking around, we were really respectful. We were like, oh, thank you for showing us around, fine. And we didn't say anything, but some of the people looking around here have been so unbelievably rude. And it's really difficult because I take things really personally, especially when I'm stressed, which I am currently at the moment. I know I shouldn't, and it's so easy to say to someone, oh, just don't take it so personally, but no. So we've got to put the house back on, well, it's still on the market, but we've got to probably resell the house. But the most difficult thing is actually finding somewhere to move to. We have, between us, a fairly decent, average middle-income family. We don't have children yet. We just have us and the dog. But actually trying to find a house that we both actually want to move to is so hard. There just aren't many. We don't want to be in a busy town, which has ruled out about 80% of the houses that we could actually afford. We don't want to have a tiny little garden, which has ruled out probably another 10% of the houses, the ones that we could afford. We don't want to be living in Drug Den Alley, which is quite a lot of the other ones that we could afford. We want to move somewhere that hopefully we can actually have a proper fresh start, maybe even have a family. I'll come on to that in a minute. That would be amazing, and it's just nowhere we've seen that we like. It's not even a case that we want something extravagant. We're just looking for a few bedrooms, a half-decent patch of garden, somewhere that's not horrible, be a good start. We don't even mind doing some work on it, to be honest. That's good. I'm quite happy with that, doing a bit of DIY, making it look nice, that's fine. I don't want somewhere that's already falling down. Or like one of the houses we saw, oh, it's lovely, except for the fact that it doesn't actually have a kitchen at the moment. Well, we don't have the money to just go and install a kitchen. And in the UK as well, when you're moving, unless you're moving out of rented, which we're not in rented, we've half purchased this house. Unless you're moving out of rented, there's not a crossover period. So you literally move out in the morning and move in the afternoon. So it's not like we can just sell this house and then go and buy a house without a kitchen or with like half the ceiling missing, which is what some of them have been. Like, oh, it's fine, you can fix when and with what mystical money. I'm not complaining. We are like, don't worry about us. We are fine money-wise. Like, it's just houses are so expensive. Even if you own one already, they are so expensive. We are never going to pay it off. We've already realised that. Like, we will be well into our 70s before the time that any house that we purchase is paid off. And we are not even looking at an expensive house, to be fair. And you're just looking at it thinking, how did it get to this point in the UK? Wow. There's been a lot going on in the UK in the last kind of month or so, or a couple of months actually. I would say it's since we got a new government, but in all honesty, it's been a disaster zone for the last few years. But it's ramped up, it's worse at the moment. So this is the current situation that we're in. We were hoping to move November time. That's not now going to happen because we don't actually have a house to go to. We are looking, we've got a couple of options that we might go and have a viewing of. To be honest, all of the options that we have on our like list at the moment have been met with the, well, it's not awful. Which is not really, when you're purchasing a house, that's not really something you want to hear in your head, is it? Well, it's not awful. So it makes it more difficult because we want to be close to our family. He doesn't want to be hours away from his family, and I'd quite like to be closer to my family. But both sets of family happen to live in super expensive areas, which is a bit rubbish because it just pushes up the prices of the house. We can't live anywhere near G's family within about a half an hour drive because just no houses. There's actually nothing. And within about a half an hour drive of my parents, there's also nothing really. So it wasn't just the fact that we lost a building, we lost a whole dream that we had in our head at that point. So that's been really hard. So other things that are going on, we have just harvested as much as possible from our allotment. There's a couple of things still growing. There's some beans growing. There's some other bits and pieces. We've got one solitary pumpkin, which I'm so excited about. But we had already decided because of the move that we were going to give up the allotment. Well, we're about to go down and do possibly one of the hardest things that we've got to do. We've decided to give up the allotment, haven't we?
For the moment, we're going to downsize back to garden, I believe.
Back to the back garden.
And then when we do find ourselves a little bit more stable in a house with a bigger garden,
Yeah.
Make an allotment garden again, my love.
Yeah, that's the plan. So we're gonna say goodbye to the allotment for now. But yeah, we're gonna downsize the allotment that we've got here, well, to not having an allotment, and then go back to being back garden growers. It's the middle of September now, so it's kind of the perfect time to do it anyway. We've got a couple of months left on the allotment, just finish harvesting stuff. But other than that, we are gonna do our best, aren't we?
Do our best. There's nothing more that we can do, really. It's definitely a learning curve. I think that we've learnt from it.
Yeah, we've learnt a huge amount about what we can do and a bit about each other as well. We've not killed each other yet, and surprisingly it's not led to divorce yet. I mean, there was a couple of, but no, we're not there yet, it's fine. But no, that's the plan. So yeah, we're gonna go and do that now. And I want to talk about that for a second as well, because giving up the allotment is not just because we're moving. It would be so much easier for me to say to you, oh well, we're giving up because we're moving, and obviously we're moving out of area, and having an allotment down the road won't work for us because we'll be hours away and yada yada. That's not the whole truth. I shared in one of my first videos that I have ADHD, which does make life much more interesting and does make managing emotional regulation very tricky, which I've really struggled with over the last week. But I have come to the conclusion that although I do love my allotment and I love being there and I love doing the stuff, it doesn't actually work for my brain, which is so heartbreaking to actually have to admit. And I was talking to G about it at the weekend, and we were saying that there's lots of stuff that I need to do that's kind of 10-minute jobs, things that just need doing, that I just don't do because I actually have to plan the time in my day or in my diary. It's around about a 15-minute drive down to the allotment, which isn't a lot, I realise that, but I've got a plan in my day. I've got to think about what I've got to do down there, put everything in the car to go, sort the dog out and everything, then drive down, open the gate, go down, get it all back out the car, open the other gate, go all the way down to the allotment, then do all the things, then do it all in reverse again and come back. And as much as I love being there, I do actually love being there. It's that process that I can't keep doing. I just feel like such a failure admitting that. But at the same score, I've been battling with my brain long enough to know that there is no point beating myself up about something that just isn't working. Regardless of how much I wanted it to work, it's not working. So we have decided that even though we're not moving in the immediate future, hopefully we'll find a house within the next few weeks and we can get the ball rolling and we'll possibly move in January, February time. The discussion was, do we keep the allotment and then put it to bed a little bit for the winter and then just assume that we're going to keep going, or what? I decided that's not something I'm going to do because it doesn't work for me. And one of the problems you have with ADHD is you think you can do everything, and then when the realisation hits that you can't do everything, and even if it's something you were absolutely in love with, that you can't do because of the process to get there and do it, it's not just upsetting, it is like a literal heartbreak. And that's kind of how I've been feeling for the last month or so, which is kind of also why I didn't want to make any videos, because I felt a bit like a fraud. I'm saying to you, I love my allotment, I love being here, and that's the truth. I do love it and I love being here. I just can't go. And that it's the planning aspect, and I've after a little bit of soul searching, I've realised that it's just not something that I can do right now. So that's why we're also being really strict on the house that we are looking to get, because I've said to Gia, I love being in my garden. I love doing the growing the things. I love harvesting the things. I love doing all the work. It's not the work that's putting me off at all. But what I need to be able to do is those little 10-minute jobs that need doing, is to be able to do them in little 10-minute bursts. So that I have quite a lot of flexibility with my job. I don't really take a whole lunch break. What I tend to do is take little breaks here and there, which works a lot better for me because I work from home. And I said to G, what I need to be able to do is in a little bit of a brain break, because otherwise I spend all day sitting behind my laptop. In a little bit of a brain break, I can go out, do one of the 10-minute jobs that I need to do, and then come back in, and it's not pressure I can keep my little to-do list, but it's something that I can tick off pretty much every day. Oh, I need to build a bean trellis. That'll take me like 10-15 minutes. I'll go and do that on a Wednesday or whatever at lunchtime. This day I need to maybe I need to weed this particular bed. That'll take me 10 minutes. I can leave the rest of them, but I can do this one bed. I've talked to that before in half an hour allotment jobs. And I said weeding one bed at a time is great mentally because you can see that you've done something, which I love doing, but then if I'm only getting 2 or 3 hours down there in a big block that I have to really plan for, that doesn't work for me. So we've decided to give up the allotment. It'll be a few months, probably November, December time when we finally hand in the keys, as it were, metaphorically. We're going to give up the allotment and we're going to focus on the back garden for the foreseeable future. I don't know how long we're going to be here. My plan is actually, at the moment, to get as much planted as possible in pots and movable things, so that I'm estimating, I'm hoping, I'm putting it out to the universe and to the goddess and whoever's listening, that we are going to move in spring. I've decided, I'm kind of putting that out there. There's going to be a fantastic house that comes up that's just in our price range, that's what we wanted, and we're going to move in spring. So I have a birthday in January. We have a wedding anniversary in May. So somewhere between my birthday and our wedding anniversary, I think we're going to move, and that's in my head. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to try and plant as much as possible in pots and movable things. I'm going to keep an eye on where we are with the move-in, and if I can get some in-ground crops in the back garden that are going to be harvestable by the time we move, that'd be great. If not, I'm just going to fill it with flowers, decided, make it look nice, so at least the new owners can have some flowers. That'd be lovely. So that's that plan. I have also at the back of my head decided that I might buy a green stalk. All of you guys in the US keep raving about them, and I keep seeing, I'm absolutely loving Cassandra from Becoming a Farm Girl. She has no idea who I am, but I watch all of her videos. Hi Cassandra, you're amazing. And I love the fact that she has so much growing on a tiny little deck. It really does actually motivate me, because our garden's tiny. It's not suitable really for growing a lot. I think I might buy a green stalk. They look amazing. I found that we can order one. I think there's a company in Sweden that stocks them and then ships to the UK, and it's like £18 shipping. I think we've got to pay import fees. But either way, it's not a cheap outlay, but it's not expensive. So I think I might get one of those, and then I can fill it with all sorts of things, and then at least have something in the garden. Because that was something when we were talking about giving up the allotment. I was like, I don't want to feel like I have nothing now, because I put all of my energy into the allotment. So as long as I can see some progress in the house garden, then we can do that. So we have a tiny back garden, but we're going to work on making that as productive as possible given the constraints. We're kind of lucky in some ways that we're now going into winter, because there's not a huge amount of stuff that's going to be growing. So I don't actually feel like I'm missing out as much because it's the non-growing season. But that's okay. I know that there's loads of stuff we can grow in the winter and all of that kind of stuff, but let's not complicate things at the moment. That's where we're going to go from now. So that is really sad, but somewhat positive as well. So that's good. And the last thing, I'm not going to talk about this a huge amount at all. So out of the sadness of losing the house, we did some soul searching as a couple and decided that we wanted to move our family plans along a little bit. It's, before anyone gets excited, this is definitely not an announcement for anything. All I'm going to say is it's not nearly as easy as they told you in biology class. So we need some help with that. And it was part of our plan that when we moved, we could release a little bit of money from the house that we have here, possibly spend some of that money on the help we need. That's not going to happen, but we have organised something that is hopefully going to give us answers, if anything else. That's the main thing. For any of you guys from the US that are looking and going, wow, you have a national health service that's free, don't get too excited. It is dreadful. I am not discounting the amazing work the doctors and nurses do. I think they're incredible and they work under a lot of pressure and all of that jazz. However, the actual trying to get any help from the NHS is no. And they don't help people like me anyway. I'm too fat for them. So I've basically given up with the NHS. We've gone as far as we can go with them, which is, to be fair, not very far. They've been about as helpful as a chocolate teapot. So we've given up with that. We've put plans in motion to get some proper help, as it were. We're going to just explore what options we've got. And please, as much as I love all of you good lifers to the ends of the earth, and to be honest, your lovely messages are amazing, please do not comment with, it'll happen when it happens, and it'll happen when you least expect it. Yeah, it probably will. And again, I have faith, you guys have faith, whatever you believe in, you have faith, we have faith. But equally, we are also people of science as well. So we're doing what we can do, and we are also putting faith in what we believe in as well to help us out a bit, shall we say. But I don't want to get into too much detail about that. It's really private. It's also really heartbreaking. So we'll see how that goes going into the future. So there are some positives coming out of it. I have also a renewed, so now we've got to the point of losing the house, as it were. I'm still going to call it losing the house. We've lost the dream, as it were. And we have decided to give up the allotment, and that decision has been made, and I'm actually happy with it in a weird way. It's kind of given me a bit of a renewed focus. I'm like, right, so what did I want this channel to be about when I started it? I really wanted it to be about homesteading skills, but for a UK audience. One of the biggest problems we have in the UK is, as we're facing at the moment, houses and land is just extortionately expensive. It's just out of the realms. Even if you have a decent job like we do, and even if you do everything right, it's still just extortionately expensive to get the sort of house that we want. We don't want anything extravagant, just a half decent sized garden would be a good start, and a kitchen that's not like one unit. I kind of lost my train of thought. So reboot things, go with a bit more positivity. So I've got loads more things planned. I am actually going to try and do one video a week. I'm not going to put a huge amount of pressure on myself, so I'm going to keep the community tab updated. If there's no video a week, there might be no video that week, and I'll tell you why. But for the best part, I'm going to try and do at least one video a week, and I wouldn't mind doing this story time sit down, whatever you want to call it, every now and again to keep you guys updated. Let me know in the comments if that's something you're liking. I feel like this video has probably gone on for ages now, so I'm gonna shut up and I'll leave you to it. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all of your lovely comments on the last video. So I'm gonna renewed focus, more videos, more positivity, and things will work out. All things will work out. If you're struggling in your life as well, don't forget to talk to someone. It really does help. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.